Welcome, everyone, to the post-Christmas completely unnecessary podcast. Wednesday? Why would you listen to Wednesday, December 29th, 2021? That's Musin next, Ian Ferguson.
Howdy.
I'm Pat Contry. On the show today, we will be discussing what we got for Christmas. Will be one of the things we discuss. It's a festive podcast. Maybe we'll do a year-end thing real quick. We'll also be talking about Sonic scented candles. We'll be discussing good old games being in trouble. The Intellivision Amico. Pat played in a Intellivision Amico game. Clickbait. Hold on for that news and a Patreon poll topic and other stuff. So Ian, what did you get for Christmas, buddy?
Sick. That's what I got for Christmas.
You
in addition,
you got viruses.
In addition to that, I got a knife sharpener, which I've been needing and wanting for quite some time. And Vonnie also got me a full set of the Pac-Man brunch figurines.
Ones we spoke on the podcast a couple months ago.
Yeah, we talked about them on the podcast.
Those look nice.
Yep. And my brother got me a set of Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Scrooge Legos that I still need to put together.
That sounds
pretty
nice.
cool. Yeah.
And what viruses did Santa bring you this year?
I had COVID-19 for sure at one point. The way the timeline looks now is that I got it probably while flying. I have a bad back. I talk about that on the podcast. Flying is not good for my back, and my back has been really aggravated for the past month and a half. I threw it out end of October and it hasn't fully healed yet. So 7 hours of flying combined with maybe 2 hours of sleep the night before and a lot of work leading up to leaving, I thought maybe I was just exhausted from travel. I thought maybe that was it. But it was body aches. I was sweating. And I started to feel a little bit better the next day. And by the third day, I was pretty good. But my brother tested positive for COVID. So we got a bunch of COVID tests and I was checking my temperature and everything. I had no fever or anything like that. So I'm like, maybe this travel just really beat the shit out of me. But then we all tested. I was positive. Vonnie was positive. My parents, my brother. And then the next day they tell you to do the second test in the box, within 24 to 36 hours after you do the first test. So I did it and I tested negative. The day I tested positive, I felt fine. The day I tested negative, I felt fine. And then the day after, I started to get sick again. And I don't know if I don't think it's COVID because they say, quarantine for 10 to 12 days from first symptoms. And it's 12 days, I think, if not more, since my first symptoms. So I don't think it's COVID again. I think I caught a cold or the flu on top of it. And it's just been kind of a nightmare. But I sat in a sauna this morning.
You did the Joe Rogan technique to kill COVID.
Fuck Joe Rogan. But I sat in a sauna this morning and that loosened me up in the chest and I'm, starting to get some of the gross shit out of my system. So I should be fine. Unfortunately, I can't test again right now because everyone got Omicron over Christmas. So there's no tests anywhere.
There's a rapid test.
They're just sold out everywhere.
There's no drive-through site nearby.
They're all super backed up.
Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like everyone got it from traveling or just being around people. My two cousins got it, and my cousin's husband. A couple other people that seemed like they got it. It's like, yeah, we got sick. I'm like, well, it's going around. It's the super transmissible, hopefully more mild version of COVID. Hopefully.
Well, it certainly seems more mild.
If it's not more mild, we're all fucked, obviously, because from what I was reading, it spreads like the measles,
right?
Or if you don't know about the measles, the reason why the measles was so deadly was that literally someone can walk in a room with it, walk out, you walk in 15 minutes later, you get it,
right?
You don't have to be around the person, it just lingers, and it sounds like this is closer to something like that. If that's the case, then there's thankfully most people are vaccinated at this point. We got to get our boosters in. So sounds like this might be a rough winter for this.
Yeah.
Might be. Thankfully, when I read the news about Walter Reed Hospital, it sounds like they've been working on since the beginning of this. They're working on a vaccine to hit all variants of COVID, not just a specific variant.
Right.
So it has to do with like the spike protein being like a different shape, I believe. I'm not an expert. They came out with that news last week. It was like last week or earlier this week. It was before Christmas by a few days. And it's like, well, that's promising if they get that to human trials. And hopefully in 2022, we can get that going. But we're going to be dealing with this another year. We're going to go into year 3.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's just what's going to happen. So I'm glad you're feeling relatively okay. Glad you got the vaccine. Because if you hadn't,
oh yeah,
who the hell knows, right?
Right.
Getting the Ian Extreme close up right now. You're looking up something.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I'm glad I got my booster a few weeks ago. When I was in Sacramento, I thought about it the whole time. I'm like, I can get something here, even if it's from flying.
Yeah.
And I didn't get anything, knock on wood, that I know of. Or maybe I fought something off, because I got the booster. Like, who knows? That's the thing. That's the world we're living in. So you got knife sharpeners. What did I get? My sister got me spices. My sister got me. There's a spice website that she recommends that she even says like regular spices are a lot cheaper. And there's like a bunch of fish spices. There was like spices you didn't think of, like Ukrainian village spice, and there's a couple other spices in there. And I'm like, all right, I gotta try this on my fish and
spice blends. That's basically
different blends you wouldn't try. Spice of life, Ian. That's the expression. Makes your experience totally different. Spice of life.
Yes, variety is the spice of life.
Plain ass chicken. I usually buy my chicken already marinated, so now I'm gonna have to buy just regular chicken or breasts and just do it myself. Then that's fine. I'm willing to make the sacrifice.
Yeah, I always buy it plain. It's always more fun to marinate it yourself.
I also got a food hangover with the Feast of the Feast of the Seven Italian Fishes, which you can hear about on the Patreon exclusive podcast. Patreon.
That's right.
I see you podcast. Boy, it was an experience. So I got that, and then my friend, she got me a present that I didn't ask for. I will say this right now. I have to show it though. It's too funny not to show. And this might get back to the celebrity that's mentioned there. She got me 3 pairs of boxer briefs, custom ones, with like graphic print on it, and they're actually good quality. They're stretchy. So I'll say maybe I might have a minor crush on this person, and that's why she got it. But I did not ask for these. I will say that. But she got me boxer briefs of Monica McNutt.
Oh my God.
Monica McNutt is a delightful ESPN and MSG network analyst. And I think she used to play basketball at Georgetown. And she has the best smile, if you can see that.
Oh yeah, no, that's great.
So I love these, but Monica, if this somehow gets to you, Miss McNutt, I did not ask for these. I honestly did not ask for these. So don't be freaked out. But now there's boxer briefs with your face on it 100 times right there. So those are great. Let me put the camera right there. Those are great. So that was a funny present. And then of course my mom got me. My mom always makes me she makes me the cookies every year. And then I would buy myself Strufoli. Good old Strufoli. So that's what I got. Did anyone get you any scented candles, Ian?
No, but there is a Sonic the Hedgehog scented candle now. That would be great for me. If you ever want to know what candle I would like, get me the Sonic the Hedgehog scented candle.
Smells like hedgehog.
Yeah, it smells like hedgehog. It doesn't say what it really smells like. Break the limits. Gotta go fast.
Oh.
Sonic the Hedgehog blue candle. It comes with stickers. I kind of want this. Let's see. It doesn't smell like woodland creatures. It says they're guaranteed to make any grotty game cave smell 1,000 times better. They're still not telling me what this smells like. Oh my God, they made an Amy Rose candle. Geez, Pat, come on now. They made Tails, Sonic, Amy. Is there a Knuckles candle? There's got to be a Knuckles candle.
Amy's a female hedgehog?
Yes.
Pink one? Okay.
She
has to be pink.
So The smell is of rose, magnolia, cherry blossom, and sandalwood.
Wait, which one is Sonic?
I'm going to guess he's magnolia, but I don't know for sure.
So these are just candles that you know what, we're gonna get a Sega license and just rebrand these candles and get all the rubes to buy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
candles are nice. The aromatherapy is a thing. You want to relax, you want to sit in the bathtub and have a Sonic candle going. I'm not judging you.
You can do this. It's time to fly, says the Tails candle.
Get like 14 Tails candles and you put them around you like in a ritual, a Sonic ritual. You can do that. You can do whatever you want.
More interesting to me in the Sonic the Hedgehog news portion of our intro is the announcement of Sonic Legos. The Sonic the Hedgehog Lego set was one of those sets that was like made by fans, and then they put it up on that website and they vote for it and they turn it into a real Lego set. I actually like the Sonic Lego set. I think it's far more interesting than the Mario Lego set, because you actually recreate a segment of a level. So you recreate like the bridge with the loop and you make the little bad guys, and it looks like a little diorama. Those Mario Legos, like obviously kids love them, but as an adult, I look at them and I don't get anything out of them. It's more meant to be a toy. It would be far cooler to me if you made like a piece of the scenery or the diorama or something, or made a pipe. So I like this. I don't think this is going to be I don't think they're going to do a series of them. I think it's just this one-off set, but it looks really cool, and they come out in January, and I'm not sure on the price. I don't think they announced the price yet, but that's actually a set that I might consider picking up.
So of course it's what Green Hill Zone. You get the loop.
You get a loop, you get the little wooden bridge, you get the famous enemies, you get the coins, you get the little you make the little power-up boxes. So yeah, I like it. It would actually be a Lego set you could build and put on like a shelf, and it would look nice.
And it's Lego Company. This isn't like,
no, it's Lego.
Okay, it's not one of the there's like one or two competitors that are still out there. You see,
it's not Mega Bloks, it's Lego.
Mega Bloks. There's another one. Well, this would help people. For next Christmas, a bill has been introduced. Democrats are pushing a bill to outlaw scalper bots.
Woohoo!
This is from PC Mag. House and Senate Democrats reintroduced the Stopping Grinch Bots Act to crack down on scalper-run bots. On Monday, U.S. Rep. Paul Tonko from New York and Senators Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut and Chuck Schumer from New York and Ben Ray Illusion from New Mexico announced a new push for the Stopping Grinch Bots Act. The bicameral bill will crack down on cyber Grinches using bot tech to quickly buy up whole inventories of popular toys and resell them to parents at higher prices. They originally introduced the bill in November 2019. I don't know why this wasn't passed immediately. Who would be against this? I guess you're a Grinch. So let's see if this gets pushed through. I mean, can we get this through? The Federal Trade Commission will be tasked with enforcement if this went through. It'll be FTC. So there you go.
I mean, I'd love to see it. I don't know why this isn't a bipartisan thing. I don't know why everyone's not behind it. That strikes me as kind of odd.
Well, it sounds like, there was a law passed in 2016 that outlawed bots from circumventing control measures to buy up tickets for public events. So this would expand that bill. Just do it for everything then.
Yeah.
The law made it illegal for scalpers to resell the tickets obtained through the bot. Just do it for everything then. Why not? They got no foresight. If you're going to do it for tickets, these are all old curmudgeons in Congress. Come on. You don't know that people are going to... Come on.
Do it for shoes, toys,
everything.
Video games, graphics cards.
I'm trying to think who can possibly be against this. Who could possibly be against this? Well, people that make money doing this. That's what they'd be against.
Yes.
People want to ruin other people's Christmases.
I'm sure someone in Congress is like, oh, my freedom to be an asshole. I mean,
well, they're not charging enough. That's what it's like, that dumb fucking argument that happened a couple of times with people online. It's like, no, that's not like, this isn't capitalism. This is a fucking fake arbitrage system, and you're restricting supply and demand of a product artificially. It's not, no, that's ridiculous.
Yes.
So hopefully it happens. We have to mention the passing of John Madden at 85 happened yesterday on the 28th. Obviously, John Madden, if you're listening to this podcast, you know about the Madden series of games that go back to, what was the first year?
1988.
88. That's when we covered in the video game years, when it was on the computer at first. It became the most accurate depiction probably of any sport at the time on a video game console, or one of the earliest ones to get it right. And then obviously to this day, it's a juggernaut. But John Madden, if you didn't know that, was a famous football coach in the 70s for the then Oakland Raiders. He won one Super Bowl. He went to almost got to the Super Bowl a few other times. He was a great coach. Then obviously we grew up with him. I mean, at basically the same time I knew him as a video game, not guru. I guess guru, you can say that. He had influence in the games, but we knew him as an announcer, as a color analyst, and he sort of like set the mold for like an entertaining color analyst. He was knowledgeable, but he was also goofy. He made the turducken famous.
Yep.
He's the guy who made it famous, like whatever it was 20 years ago, talking about it. And he was very down to earth, and he was a guy, here's your guy that everyone could relate to. And he didn't go too complex on the X's and O's for a lot of people. Like, he was like the common man's analyst.
Right.
And from whatever I'm saying, he was a super nice guy on top of it. And obviously very knowledgeable. So of course, when EA came to him to do the football game at first, we covered some video game years, and everyone's talking about it. They're like, "Yo, we can't get 11 guys in the field on both teams." Well, that's not a football game. Then you need 11 guys. You need 11 on 11. That's a football game. Right. So they had to make it work. And then obviously he put his own plays in the game, and like that made it the best football simulation. That was the dominant football game for the first 10 years at least, till Quarterback Club tried to get it off its feet in the 2K, but like it was just Madden. That was it.
There's Game Day. There was other ones. There was the Sega ones, but they really Madden really
set the mold
for the yearly releases of sports games and stuff like that. Every other major sports game followed in its steps. It's a solid play to call all the time, every day. Go into ultimatenintendo.com.
You can make that play call.
Yeah.
B22. Ultimatenintendo.com. You can get the enamel pins to close out your 2021. You can get the limited t-shirt. We got a few of them left there for sale. The Ultimate Nintendo guidebooks are there as well. And the RBI baseball stickers are there. The RBI baseball stickers. Someone asked me at the event a couple weeks ago, how many do you think I've left? I don't know, 1,750 of them. I have no idea. Something like that. There's a lot left there. And then I will be probably on Thursday this week, just recording Wednesday. Thursday, I'll be on Twitch this week, twitch.tv/CountryCode. I'm also going to be finishing up an NES Punk episode before the end of the year, knock on wood. It's a late Christmas episode. Before you get on me, the last Christmas episode was only 2 days late, and then the year before that, it was 2 days early. Or 1 day early. So I'm doing a Christmas episode. And before you get on me, Pat, why are you late? Because I went on a trip, and then I did a Flea Market Madness, and then Christmas week is hell. And cut me some slack, okay? You enjoy them. Let me get them out when I get them out. I'm a one-man band right here when it comes to this stuff. I was also on PBS. I forgot to mention that.
You mentioned that last week.
Did I? That it came out?
Yep. You mentioned it last week.
PBS Roundtable?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because you said you mentioned me as well.
I mentioned on the podcast?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I was positive you did. I mean, go ahead and say it again if you did, but I don't know when you would have told me.
Well, it came out within the last week. So I think so. KPBS did a local San Diego podcasting thing, and I have a segment on there. So check that out. Bad news, GameWorks is closing. This is not a chain I'm familiar with, but it sounds like it's like a Dave and Buster style chain where you get an arcade and there's a restaurant there. And I recognize the name, but I know nothing about GameWorks. They've been around, it looks like, since July 96. They're closing 25 years. I guess they couldn't totally survive the pandemic. Looks like there's several locations that are left throughout the U.S. Midwest has most of them. There's one, it looks like, is that Seattle? Las Vegas has one in Colorado, and there's Chicago. Looks like there's one in Minnesota, Ohio, and is that Virginia? Virginia. So, yeah, I guess if people have fond memories of GameWorks, obviously it sucks. Let's look at Burger on that page. I mean, I've been to Dave Buster's a couple times. Maybe this is a better version of that. I don't know. I there's not one nearby, but it looks like it's the same sort of stuff. There's redemption games. You have your light gun games, Beat Saber. You got it's your modern arcade. I'm sure they have some traditional arcade games, but that's not what these places are about. That's not how they make their money. It's all about the redemption. It's all about stuff like that, you know. But it's sad. It's also sad.
Sad.
Is
sad
Sea Cave?
Games.
What's
yeah.
that?
Sea Cave in New Orleans was vandalized. I mean, vandalized isn't the word. A guy, and I don't know the entire story, but basically a guy was kicked out of Sea Cave for putting stickers on a machine. He came back with an axe and destroyed pretty much every screen in the building. Cops were called, and he locked people in there while he was doing it. He left. Cops were called. Cops came, took down the information. He came back later that night, I guess, and did more damage. And then the next night, he showed up with a gun. And then the cops finally caught him. We're talking about, I mean, an absolutely insane situation and scenario here. Literally every screen in the arcade was destroyed by this guy. So if you want to help Sea Cave, they do have a GoFundMe. Help support Sea Cave. Keep its employees paid. They're at $34,305, raised of a $30,000 goal. I think they had said in one article shortly after, maybe it's no longer accurate, that they thought it would take about $50,000 to replace everything that was damaged. So I hope they can, and I hope they can reopen and come back strong. But that's awful.
Some of these are older monitors are not easy to replace. They don't make these monitors from the 80s anymore.
No, so you have to go and find stuff that is, you have to go find parts that you can.
Sometimes
spare.
You can convert. They sell kits, I think, to convert some old CRTs, depending upon what type of it. You can do that and convert some older monitors. But like some of them, they're not. There's no factories pumping out these old late 70s, early 80s monitors anymore. They're not out there. You can make do maybe on some of the newer stuff, but not the super old stuff like a fucking Vector, monitor. It's like okay, great. I have a replacement value on it, but how am I going to easily find another one? That's we're talking about. There's not more being made. I'm just happy that no one got hurt. When you hear a gun and a crazy person, you're thinking, okay,
locking people in an axe. Yeah, that could have gone horrible.
Yes, I can't imagine what the people are going through at that during that time. That sounds insane. So yeah, check it out. The Sea Cave Arcade GoFundMe is there. Good Old Games is in trouble, according to this article from The Verge. I think they did a CD Projekt Red owns Good Old Games. I forgot about that.
Yes, CD Projekt Red owns Good Old Games, and I don't know if Cyberpunk affected this any. Cyberpunk, from what I was reading the other day, it seemed like it ended up selling well, regardless of all the, over the year at least, regardless of all the criticisms. But it says that they're going to focus on a hand-picked selection of games, transfer some developers to other projects, and basically I have a feeling they're just going to make this store far more boutique-y than it was. It was really starting to expand and offer a lot more, and I'm wondering if they just can't afford to do that. So
yeah, because when I first heard of Good Old Games, it was basically like offering you, it was you're almost buying like abandonware. A lot of it was like these older PC games that were at least 10 years ago, they weren't re-releasing those games from the 80s and 90s.
It's where I went to go buy Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and 3, and you can get Arcane, you can get the old CRPG, D&D games like Planescape Torment and stuff there. All the stuff that everyone wants to play, but had been forgotten about.
At one point in time, you couldn't find Doom 2 every single place. At one point you couldn't. So like at one point these old PC games, Good Old Games was like to me, I was synonymous with old PC games. Oh my God, they have X-Wing on there, Ian. Instead of me trying to get DOSBox working with my old CD, well, you can pay a few dollars and they have it all loaded up for you. You can just click on it. It's basically a DOSBox thing, and there you go, executable. It's like there you go. It's convenience.
That was the thing that I always liked about it, was that they packaged everything with a self-launching version of DOSBox that made the emulation of it super easy.
Yeah, it
wasn't difficult.
Yeah, it was like, how can you figure that out yourself? Yeah, I guess you can, but I don't want to spend 3 hours figuring out how to play my old TIE Fighter CD. I don't want to do that. So that's how I always knew it. Then of course they obviously want to make money to expand out to more modern games. Then maybe I guess you lose your marketing sort of point, because then obviously you have Steam, you have Epic Games, you have everywhere else, you have Ubisoft had their fucking store. I don't know if they still do. You have all these other stores. Like, then you have no competitive advantage when
EA has one.
EA has theirs. So yeah, how can you compete? So it looks like in 2020, they had a profit of 1.37 million. But then in 2021, they had a net loss of 2.21 million for the past 3 quarters, compared to a profit of 1.37 million profit over the same period 2020. So they lost about $1 million year to year.
I wonder if it just has to, if it maybe comes down to part of it being like they're not unique anymore. Like a lot of that stuff you can get on Steam and whatnot now. They're not like a niche anymore. They're just another store.
Yeah, actually, Pac-Man, they went down $2 million. Looks like in total revenue. Then, well, I mean, operating revenue versus cost, I don't know, but they did worse this past year. And then you think about what's happening. Did they expand staff? Did they maybe buy up some exclusives that didn't work out? You know what I mean? It could be a combination of things.
Give me 1 minute.
Expanded to. Oh, he's going to dogs. Okay. Is expanding to a more all-purpose storefront selling new third-party games and internal studio CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077, plus an online service called Good Old Games Galaxy. It laid off a purported 10% of its staff in 2019. One staff member tied the earlier layoffs to increased competition in PC gaming storefronts, which has driven major platforms to lower the commission they take from developers. So this could be a situation where now they're forced to compete more because of, well, Epic Games Store taking less of a share as well. So yeah, I don't know how this bundles in potentially with Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe that didn't help, because that was already a year ago, and that was a terrible launch, in the aftermath and the fallout of a game being incomplete and not playable on certain platforms. But hopefully Good Old Games stays around. Otherwise, I can picture potentially a buyout. I can picture someone like Steam obviously saying, well, we'll take on Good Old Games as basically like an imprint. Or maybe Epic Games would come in and buy a chunk of it. But I could see Good Old Games staying around. It has a brand, it has a name, and I think it will continue. I don't think it'll be shuttered for good. You want to talk about Logan Paul? So Logan Paul,
I mean, not really, but I think people are overreacting in this instance. Logan Paul went and took 15 Game Boy colors and submerged them in a resin square to make a coffee table. And then he put like a Pokemon sort of themed frame around it, and everyone went nuts. Oh, he's destroying this, he's destroying the hardware, this, that, and the next thing. I don't care. The guy's done plenty of other things that were worthy of getting on his case over, but I don't think this is really it. It's 15 whole Game Boys.
Yeah, there's some obviously some hard to find variants in there. I saw the 2 Pokemon ones. There might have been some
They're not impossible to find, though.
No, they're not impossible to find. And honestly, the way I looked at it is this. Obviously, he's been trying to, he pumped a lot into like the Pokemon card market in the past year or two. The high-end sales he's buying, the unopened boxes. I think he bought packs that ended up being already like resealed packs. So he's obviously likes this. He grew up with it. This isn't something he can monetize. Like, he's not going to start making resin Game Boy Color tables. So I'm actually not going to kill him for this. I think it's fine if he actually likes it and want to show it off.
He made a one-off piece. If he had just purchased those 15 Game Boys and didn't submerge them in the resin, they would still be 15 Game Boys removed from the market, removed from circulation.
Yes. I own probably 10 Game Boy Colors.
Yeah.
8 to 10.
Whether he buys those and leaves them unsubmerged, and people made some good points. You could do a glass table or something like that. Sure, he can, but it's 15 Game Boys. And yes, there's some rare ones, but if he had owned them, like I said, they would have been out of circulation anyway. It's not like it was a Pokemon Center Game Boy Light At least I didn't see. Those Pokemon ones are a bit more expensive now, but we always got them in at the stores.
They're not super hard to find. I know the one is harder to find than the other. I think the gold and silver one is
the gold and silver one is harder to find than the original.
So like, what do they go for? Like a couple $100, like $100?
$100.
So it's like it's not like he did this to an NWC cart. It's not like he did something that's irreplaceable,
right?
Basically. So it's like, all right, that's fine. So like, wow, I have nothing bad to say about Logan Paul. There you go.
Let the guy make his kind of tacky coffee table.
That's the best thing. If you're gonna say that's the worst thing about it, it's like, wow, okay, it's a clear table. That's your art piece. Okay, it's like it's I don't want to call it tacky. It's just like the laziest form of art. We'll just get something encase it in plastic.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Did you know, Ian, there was going to be almost Game Boy on the internet?
Yes, I did. And I swear we've talked about this, but you say we haven't. So Page Boy, I think I even clearly, I think we talked about this at during a convention. I think this was a convention topic we covered. But the Page Boy was to be a first party attachment for the Game Boy that would allow you to check your email and do basic PDA stuff on it. Notepads, I think there was like a small spreadsheet. Just weird little stuff, and it never happened. My guess is probably because the Game Boy was extremely long in the tooth by this point in time.
Sure. This was
I think it was supposed to be for the original Game Boy.
A video covering it from Liam Robertson. And then he talked to some people that used to work on it. According to those involved, at their meeting with Nintendo America 99, the company was excited about the potential for the Page Boy. And for the next 3 years, Nintendo worked with Wizard, a group created to help manage the device, to see if this add-on could actually be created and if it would end up being profitable. A lot happened between 99 and 2002. I mean, you had cell phones blow up between that.
Right.
For the most part. Like that's by the 2002 was my last year in college. By then, you started to see cell phones a lot more regularly, even with students having them. So a lot happens in those 3-4 years, late 90s to early 2000s. Cell phones really made that jump into like popularity,
right,
at that period in time. So the prices came down on them. The plans were more reasonable, even though looking back, you're like, how the hell could I spend, 10 cents a text? What the hell? Whatever it was, 5 cents. You got like 100 texts a month and then 10 cents a text. But there was that period that a lot happened between 98 and 2002. The internet exploded. Cell phones started to explode. The world started to change more, if you want to say that. A lot of things, bump in technology happened then. So there you go. We didn't get to Ian to have our Game Boy colors strapped on our belt clips on our belt. I can't believe that would have been a thing. Would you have done that? Strap your Pokemon Game Boy color on your belt?
I mean, maybe it's possible. I might have considered it.